Hello, and now we will begin. This is my model. Today, as I told you before, we're going to be cutting the short American. And so I have separated the top half from the bottom using the low horseshoe parting. So as you can see, it's below the recession of the head. Well, I've parted and separated the top of the hair from the bottom. We're going to establish our head shape today using our vertical sections, and I will be cutting with my shear palm to palm. I'll be starting on my right side because I'm right hand dominant, and so this is where I have the most control. And so I'm going to start by taking vertical sections, and I will be cutting palm to palm. And I will follow my guide around the head. I'm cutting from top to bottom. Now, once I get behind the ear, I'm going to let my client look at it to make sure that this is the length that he prefers. And we call this our design panel. Okay. So I already know how short he wants it. And so when you get behind the ear, make sure you turn him to the mirror. That's your design panel to make sure that this is how short your client wants to be. You do not want to go around the entire head, establishing the head shape and have to recut. Make sure your client's head is straight. Now I'm moving behind the ear. And if you notice, when you're behind the ear, when you get down, you got to make sure that you have your guide so that you can follow it, because we want to make sure that we're creating a tall and lean shape. I see my guide. I'm using my 6.5 American Crew shears, which helps me cover more ground. And if you notice, I'm standing in front of what I'm cutting. When you're establishing the head shape, you want to make sure that you're following your guide. So you want to make sure that you move with your cut. So you won't over direct the hair, changing your guide. See my guide? And use your smaller teeth for hair that's short and straight. It gives you more control. May not have as much to cut off, so I'm going to make sure that I'm staying with that tall and lean shape. Again, looking at my guide, making sure you're cutting palm to palm. Do not chase the hair. Make sure you're cutting nice, clean parts. Now, once you get to the center back, you can go back in your first section to check to make sure that your length is good, and it is. And you can check in the center back, and also when you get behind the ear on the other side, you can check also. Check for your balance. Make sure you can comb as much as you want to make sure you have all the hair combed. You don't want to have pieces of hair that are buckled. Nice, clean cuts. Okay. And we're just cutting in zones 1 and 2. I love cutting with the 6.5 shears because it helps you cover more areas. It's a little quicker when you're cutting than when you cut with smaller shears. You're able to cut wider spaces. Okay. And we're almost on the other side. So you're going from cut hair into uncut hair. That's the best way to cut so that you can see. So that's why we cut from the dominant side. Here's my guide. Make sure you palm your shears, especially if you have a client with longer hair. You want to make sure you palm them so you won't accidentally cut hair that you didn't want to cut. So make sure they're closed. Always look for your guide. I'm not having to cut a lot off my client's, the bottom part of his head because he's already had a cut previously. And so I will cut that in my detail in my finish. Get some water. When you're cutting the hair, make sure that you keep it saturated. You don't have to have it dripping, but you want to make sure it's pliable for you to grab. Straight up. Thank you. Okay, we've reached the other side of the head. We have created our head shape. And again, okay, so we check our back to make sure. Now when you see a spot like right here, I see that it needs to be cut right here. So what you do is you do not cut it horizontal, okay? You go back and you bring it out vertical. And then you cut that part. If I start cutting horizontal, I'm going to change the shape, and you don't want to do that because we are cutting with the actual, we're cutting based on, not with his head shape, but we're creating tall and lean shape, a masculine shape. So we don't want to make it round, okay? So now that we have created and established our basic head shape, now I'm going to go into my transition. In my transition, I'm going to create a T-parting, which is from ear to ear. So you right at the ear and create a T-parting. Okay, and then I'm going to go straight down the middle. it apart a little bit better here. Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna wet his hair because it has dried a little bit. I already have a little bit of medium hold styling gel on it just so that I can have more control with his hair. We're going to be doing a low facet today. That's what the short American requires. And so I'm going to start right behind the ear with my first guide. Now my guide is at the top of level 2. So I'm going to be doing a low facet, and my guide is right there. You can see it. And so it's a low one. So I'm going to come in with my low facet. And I will be bringing the hair to the previous cut. So we're not making it longer. We just already have our guide. And so we're going to follow it. And I'm going to keep cutting, bringing it back to the previous guide. Now toward the front, I'm going to have length established because it is longer in the front. And so I'm going to over direct a little. Okay. And over direct. Back. And that's how we maintain length in the front. So now I'm going to work with my low facet in the area around the crown. And I have a guide in front of me, and I have a guide underneath. There's my guide in front. There's my guide underneath. And I'm going to work it all the way around his head. And if you notice, I'm moving because you want to move with your cut so you can see your guide. Okay. Continuing all the way around the head, making sure you take nice clean partings so that they're not too thick, so that you can see your guide. And I can see my guide here, and I see my guide there. Again. Okay. So now I'm on the opposite side. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the other side. Now I can't stand behind him because I really need the control to be at the bottom. So I have to stand right here to be able to cut my low facet. So I have a guide in front, and I have a guide underneath. There's my guide. And I am cutting my previous, bringing it back to the previous cut, hair. And I love how clean you can cut with these 6.5 inch shears. It's awesome. So when you get to the front, same thing you did on the other side. You're gonna over direct back for length in the front. So I'm over directing back to maintain length. nothing to cut. Okay, so now we're going to connect the top. So when I connect the top, I'm going to connect for longer because we do want to maintain a little length. I'm going to go side to side. I'm going to be right in front of the crown area. Moving from side to side, just taking off the point. As you can see, there is a point. So we're going to remove that point. I'm walking it up. My point. Got it. And I'm going to over direct in the front to maintain length in the front. Here. Nice clean cuts. And just a little bit. All right. So now we're going to do a little bit of secondary. My client wears his hair not as full, but I'm just going to do a little bit of secondary just to separate the ends a little bit. I'm going to do some sawtoothing in the top. I'm just going to stay in shallow. So I'm not going to go in a whole lot, okay? Just a little sawtoothing to get those ends to where they're not, to where they are separating a little bit. Okay, and if you notice, I'm going one way and I'm coming back into the other way because short hair pushes long and I don't want it to just go one way. I want it to kind of distribute evenly for balance. All right, so now I'm going to come in and do just a little bit of, I'm going to use my feather razor just to gently, just moderate depth with a little bit of target up. Not gonna do a lot because he likes his hair, like I said, he wears it going down. I just want you to see the technique. All right, so that's our secondary. Now we're going to move into our detail and our finish for my cut. And I'm going to do a little bit of clipper over comb. I'm going to use my smaller comb for right now because I want to take this a little bit low. So I'm going to detail the sides just a little bit with my clipper over comb, holding my comb in my C, okay? Just trying to detail the sideburns. Not really going, staying in zone 1. If the ear's in your way, you can use your comb to block the ear a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna use my comb. Now I'm gonna go with my bigger comb to move the ear because it'll give me a little bit more leeway. And also because my clippers are the size of my comb, so I can get in there. So you use your comb to hold the ear, okay? And you have your guide. Okay. And we just staying in zone 1 only. Okay. Getting around his ear. Okay, you just go around the ear, get some of that hair off. All right, detail that sideburn just a little bit more. Okay. So once you start in your back, staying low and moving up, you're not going to change your cut. So stay in zone 1, but you want to release off of right at zone 2, and that's just so that you can have a nice taper look. Stay true to your panels when you're cutting. Once you do your clipper over comb, you're staying in panels, and panels are about the width of your comb. So you're staying in panels so that you can make sure that you get that panel right before moving to the next one. You may have to do some fanning. Okay. Again, low. Moving up with your clippers. Okay. I'm going to come around again. And I'm going to come back with my barber comb to refine the very, very bottom. Pretty much, like I said, staying in zone 1 so that you won't change the shape of your cut. Okay. Moving around. Again, use your comb to hold that ear for you. That'll help you. And all we're doing is doing a classic taper around the sides, around the sideburns. And again, we're gonna get these sideburns. Be careful not to get the client's ear. Okay. Then again, go around his ear. Okay. I'll do some more. Slowly. Okay. Going a C shape around the ear. So now I'm going to do a little bit of shear over comb to refine my sideburns. So I have my barber comb just to refine my sideburns here. Give them that more classic look. And again, the nape area, I want to refine it as well. And I'm staying right at the lower part. I'm not going to go up in two. I just want his neckline to be natural. And right here where he has a whole lot of hair, it's really good to use your barber comb because you can kind of get that out. A little bit on the side. Okay. And I'm going to come right here to really get this part. So you have to use your smaller comb for those areas. The smaller teeth for the areas that are very, where the hair is finer. Okay. All right. I'll detail this other sideburn. All right. Okay, once you have, I finished detailing my sides, my sideburns, and now I'm going to add some product to his hair.
Make it up.
I've already put in my medium hold styling gel, which is a very pliable. It helped me style his hair. It made his hair more versatile to movement and everything. But I've chosen for my product today the defining paste to kind of give him some texture. It has rosemary in it. It has a low shine. So I don't need a whole lot because I started, as you can see, get it in my hand so I can kind of really get it in the hair. And this hair is kind of drying, so I don't have to do a whole lot of drying to it. Maybe just a little bit more. And I'm going to use my dryer to put the hair in place like I want it. So I'm using my vet brush. Just to kind of put it in the direction that I want. I want it to kind of stand up a little bit.